Oh, we're just gonna dump the entire bottle in there. That should be about a half. And welcome to another day of vlogmas. Again, I do not remember which day this is, but today I thought it would be fun to do another baking video. This time I'm using a recipe from YouTube's own Smokey Steve and Marc, specifically their eggnog cookies, frosted eggnog cookies that they just posted a recipe video about a couple of weeks ago. I thought I would try it out, maybe like add my own little flair, and I'll talk about that a bit. So what you're going to need is 2 cups of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. For the dry ingredients, we're also going to be using nutmeg later on, so keep it out. You're going to need, one of the things that I was thinking about adding was actually a little bit of clove. You're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon early on, and then also, again, we're going to use that later. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and then for the wet ingredients, you're going to have 3/4 of a cup of butter, 1 cup of sugar, because again, you usually will cream the butter and the sugar together, 1 egg, and a teaspoon of vanilla. I forgot to grab that out. Also later on, you're going to be powdering the cookies, so that's where you're going to have another 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon somewhere, and that's where that 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg comes in. They can't be frosted cookies unless they've got frosting. And so for the frosting, you're going to need powdered sugar, butter, so you're going to use 2 sticks in the end, more cinnamon and nutmeg, and then also a little bit of salt. And in Marc and Steve's recipe, they use heavy cream, but they also said maybe try out with eggnog, and so I have eggnog here because I'm going to be using it for a couple other videos as well. So let's get started, and hopefully I can make cookies even just half as good as Marc does. First thing we're doing, we're adding in the flour. So that is 2 cups of flour. I'm gonna need to pick up more flour, honestly, because there's more baking I want to do. We're gonna need a 1/4 teaspoon of the nutmeg. The nutmeg. Other way's better. Got the nutmeg. Next is the cinnamon, and I'm actually gonna see if I can just finish up this bottle that I've had for a long time, and that is gonna be 1/2 teaspoon. Oh, we're just gonna dump the entire bottle in there. That should be about a half. Maybe it'll just be a little extra cinnamony. I mean, heck, if I need to, and I need to make it a little bit more liquidy, which I highly doubt, but just in case, I can just always add more. Eggnog. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Compared to the last cookies, this is a big jump in complexity, because I don't think I've ever actually baked with cream of tartar, actually. I had to unwrap the plastic on this sucker. I don't even know what this does, actually. Lastly, the baking soda. So that is all of the dry. So let's just whisk it all together. Okay, I'm gonna put this off to the side. Next, we have to combine 3/4 of a cup of butter. So that is going to be 1 full stick of unsalted butter. Again, I think I let it get probably more softened than it needed to be. And then we're using a 1/4 of a cup, or 1/2 a cup right here, which is, or another 1/4 of a cup, which is 1/2 of the stick. As we know, the other 1/2 will be used in the frosting. We'll leave the rest to the side again. We're also going to combine 1 cup of sugar. I learned from last time, I'm using only the 1/4 cup instead. Now to combine. Again, I'm gonna probably use a fork. It makes it a little bit easier, in my opinion. Maybe it takes a little bit longer, but I think it's easier stuff to clean also. And no, I don't have a hand mixer. The butter and sugar have been creamed together. Now we are going to add 1 egg and a teaspoon of vanilla. Teaspoon of vanilla. And combine. Next, that's about it. I'm struggling to get all of the egg whites combined, but I feel like it's good enough. Now, to mix in the dry. I'm gonna do it with also kind of sifting it through, getting any of the clumps that I have. While off camera, I added about 1/8 of a teaspoon of clove, because clove is another flavor that you will get in eggnog, so thought it would be a good one to kind of mimic it. Also, if you're wondering, I have been watching Smokey Steve and Marc since, God, summer 2020. I started off by just watching Coffee Talk, and then by like Christmas time, I pretty much was watching everybody, like all of their videos. And I think I've been subscribed since 2020. And we are mutuals here on YouTube. But I've never actually had a conversation with them. I have just, I did win their, what's its face, giveaway, like right around the time of their wedding, actually. And I do comment on their stuff periodically. Oh, this smells very Christmassy and I love it. Very, like, I love the spicing of it all. Get in. Sorry that the angle has not been great on this, but we struggle when you're filming by yourself. I can't have it over my shoulder. I have combined the sugar, 2 teaspoons of, not tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and probably a little bit more because some extra dumped out. And then sprinkling of nutmeg. I did not add any clove to this, but like I said, there is a little bit of clove in the actual cookie batter. Also, I added just a splash of actual eggnog because I didn't think the consistency was right. Now to make the cookies, I'm just forming them, rolling, and then gonna dump them in the powdered sugar mixture. Actually, it's not powdered sugar, it's just sugar mixture. And if I remember correctly from the video, these do spread a lot, so I'm gonna give them a lot of space in the tray. So they're a little bit more on the crumbly side when forming them. I may actually have to add a little bit more moisture to this. I'll be honest, I was never a big eggnog person growing up, but like this year I've been more of a fan. But I also picked up like the low-fat version, mostly because I was thinking maybe it's because I usually find it like too creamy or too thick, and that's not something that I really want to be drinking. So having the low-fat version, not as like gloopy in my opinion. So that's been part of the reason I like it. First 8 have been made. You can see, first 8 have been made, and I'm gonna put them in the oven, and I'm holding my like camera stick weird because I was just like trying to get everything. I'm liking this texture more, so I probably added about a tablespoon of eggnog to this. Yeah. It's still pretty crumbly, but it's not completely falling apart in my hands, so I like that. Also, by me recording this and talking about what I've added and changed up, means that I can possibly recreate this and in the way I'm making it, because that's been a complaint I've had to myself. When I've made stuff, I'm like, well, I'm never going to be able to make this again because I have changed things around a bit and made it a lot harder on me. And I always forgot to write it down. I'm a bad scientist in that aspect. But when I'm just like
feeling my way through baking, which I know that's not typically what you do, but like I do. I feel my way through like, oh, let's see if this flavor works better. Like y'all saw, I added a squeeze of orange when I was making the shortbread cookies, which I just had one before I started filming. They're good. They're good cold too. So this is the second like round of cookies. I'm about to put them in the oven. So the cookies are out of the oven and cooling. So we're gonna make the frosting now. So we're gonna use that last like half of the butter from earlier. So like I said, using 2 full sticks in the end. Then we're gonna need a cup of powdered sugar. So got the powdered sugar right here. This is feeling like a bit of a measure with your heart kind of vibe. I have a lot of powdered sugar. Like again, I've got a 2-pound bag of it because I like it for when I make bourbon balls. Although I actually only use a pound in that case. Next, we're gonna need some of the nutmeg, making sure y'all can see everything. Nutmeg and cinnamon. It'll end up being a total of 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I'm just gonna kind of put both on top of each other and we will see how that goes. So we're gonna put a little bit of that. I could not find my 1/8 of a teaspoon, so that's why. Then we're just gonna sprinkle in some cinnamon. That seems about a good amount. And I'm gonna add a little bit of the clove actually also. And last but not least, we're gonna need the 2 tablespoons of eggnog. I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon. Okay, so I added probably another tablespoon and some of the butter sugar fell out. So that's fun, but I think this will be good. So we're gonna shift over a bit. Yep, right there. So let's add some frosting on here, or this is gonna just dull about. So maybe this could have been runnier, but I kind of appreciate it being a slightly thicker consistency. Just because it makes drizzling it, putting it on a little less messy. I've got one of the cookies right here. I'm really excited to try it out. Cheers. I like it. It's a lot just like a snickerdoodle, honestly. And this is also the one that had the lower amount of eggnog, like only a tiny splash instead of like probably about a tablespoon. The frosting is delicious and I could probably eat the entire thing. The texture also definitely reminds me of, I don't know, like it reminds me of T-Rex cookies. Anybody from the Minneapolis area. I don't think T-Rex cookies is around anymore, but T-Rex cookies was a big thing for a while. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of those, the texture of the cookies from that. You can also tell this is a much crumblier cookie, but I can see why this is going in the cookie platter. So yeah, thanks Mark for giving this recipe. And I hope you liked kind of my rendition if you're watching. Generally though, everybody, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!